Hello, peeps. Excuse me while I get my chair comfortable. Um, Apologies for the sound quality. My voice may go in and out. My mic on the headset seems to have gone foobar, so I've had to enable the webcam mic. Heavens above, not the webcam itself, to record sound, because Hunter needs a good bit of explanation. This is my alt account, free to play, totally free to play, just for an experiment, and this is how we're set up. We are blue. We're not a red hunter, we're a blue hunter. But I don't even have precision. I'm getting deadly precision. I would go there if I was going for Barred Fury, but bigger dots are bigger incoming from Reflect at the moment. So I kind of prefer things like Burn Hot's 20 seconds every 1 minute 30 to Rapids Fire's 10 seconds. Is it 10 seconds? To use up 3 focus skills, and then what do you do for the remaining 3 or 4 seconds? I don't know. So nominal. Press onwards just gives me a heal. I'm not going to sink too much, just to increase it by a little bit. Now, previously I would have gone heavily on bleeds, Barb Fury, and then I would have sunk stuff into here. But bleeds isn't killing things until after the fight is over if you're on solo. The important thing to me is a dead mob can't do me any harm, unless of course it spawns another mob. Another debatable point. Bleeding mob is useful if it's running away, so I'm fearing it with my bard's arrow. Pretty much standard is to blood arrow to get some incoming healing, barbed, and then fear it away so that it goes off to die. And as I'm taking damage from the dot, I'm also healing up with blood arrow. So that's very much a balance of incoming and outgoing healing and incoming and outgoing damage. I'm pretty much I handle single and range AE damage. So I've got a little bit of split shot. Don't need too many targets. I've settled on 5 as being perfectly reasonable for a tight knit group, and 10 for when I want to hit a lot of mobs that are going to pretty much die together. Because of restricting to 5 total power, I've got an area effect for my choice here, and single target buffs for my powers, but all importantly induction skill speed. So my swift is casting induction 1 second. And how is that achieved? We have Gundabad, word of craft, focus. So we have -8%. It's all in a catch up to lethal haste on the redline. Leave this, your attack share have a 50% chance to grant minus swift bow induction, 25 attack, minus 25% attack duration. So we're behind red, but we're trying to catch them up. 5-second route. It's not a very engaging thing. We don't get a skill in blue line like these others do, but we get to move, which is the most important thing in the game. The ability to move, not stand around like a dickhead getting beaten up. And that's the appeal of blue. Not running into melee, it's avoiding melee. But we get lots of things offered up in the red line. So we have low cut now applies 3-second route, as well as it's slow. But then the lead into it, oh, I don't think they're connected. I like my finishes to be really finishing a mob, and I'm not overly keen on a skill that costs 6 focus that actually maybe doesn't deliver on the damage. It's just frustrating to use it and then things are still alive. It's not like a not Caesar's argument, the other killer move on the RK yellow line now, which is doing 1.3 million on a crit. That would be really handy if improved merciful shot was delivering that kind of damage, but it's on the RK yellow line, sadly. But I've got my AE expensively one, but it gives me the burn hearts. It gives me minus 20% on odd skill inductions, which gets our swifty down to 1 second. And that's the thing about blue line is it's not like you're making a decision in a raid where you're dealing with the next phase. We might have 20 phases in one brief 1.5 minute piece of combat in a delving, where we're making split decisions 2 or 3 times a second. So do we want skills that are taking a long time to fire? Perhaps not. So I want access to my skills. We have 0.6 seconds for split shot as its advantages. We have 0.3 seconds for improved quick shot. We have 0.9 for barbed arrow. Now I like barbed arrow, but I'm not relying on it for damage. I'm relying on it for target run speed, so things aren't reaching me. So if I can flick a barbed on a running melee, that's going to give me a bit more space. I am relying on fleetness to keep my combat run speed higher than the mobs, and that's key because like this is the only class I can take out that or at the time on level take out that roving threat in Nurtwood, big giant who slows you. The blue hunter is just pretty much the only thing that can keep up because its ability to keep out of melee range. What else have we got? We've got our Bernhardt, which is a red skill. I got this for the cooldown. Notice I'm using blue stuff. I'm not investing into gold until I can get 2 years out of it come November time. So another red skill. Precision starts critical magic, but red use that too, and of course barrage. It was it was it was a nice idea, poorly implemented and broken, then poorly fixed and broken, and entirely useless for a Huntsman speedy focus build, speedy focus use. It all went out the window. Um, where we go? Standard focus bow crit, induction bow crit, standard, no arguments there. Precision crit shot, critical chance, and magnitude. Um, as a lot of things I'd like to use before quick shot, but it always comes back to quick shot. So I might as well get what I can out of it. And I might as well get all I can out of induction bow damage. And here we have one of the induction crafteds. I still have 4 bonus from Heroic, but I'm considering not using that because once you've got to 33%, another 43,000 crit rating isn't doing you much good. Whether the changes instigate us switching to a pair to give us Devastate or combat run speed, which I'm trying on my burglar at the moment, and that's quite nice, keeping the distance with puddles everywhere for a melee character. Because this is only available at 131 plus, it's not like the crafting is distributed out to all level ranges from 50 up when you get your first LI, but then you're not given so much in the way of space for things like this. And well, we got the heraldries, the gold heraldries for crafting as well. So potentially I have either got to swap this one, which is not really no skin off my nose because I can make them and I have sufficient currency resources to make more. So at the moment I've got heroic 1 on there, heroic 1 on there. Ideally, like on another, my main hunter, I'd maybe group the 2 Gundabad Word of Crafts together rather than have them separate. These do work, one at 8%, one at 5%. They do combine. Intentionally, I don't know. But why not? So that's what I got at the moment. So potentially there's a lot of things in endeavouring to eke out the best you can out of a pretty much broken tree. You have to spend elsewhere, and of course, once you've made that investment, having it all thrown up in the air and to see where it lands, it doesn't give me too much in the way of excitement, only very much disappointment. And I'm assuming that the only reason they're looking at blue is they're thinking that people actually are specking into blue to pick up these ridiculous things. What's there? Strength of the earth. Well, that used to be a channeling skill, and what's the point of channeling and doing fuck all else? Um, I don't use Heartseeker. Heartseeker is you know, it's slow until you can flick all the check marks for it to go and be auto hit. But the standard UI doesn't give you that indicator that it can be used. You just have to figure it out yourself, or you get an add-on to tell you when to use it, and hope you don't use something else instead. Just like volley, moving the induction time of your next attack. Now, are you going to go with the flow and be using swift bow, or do you use quick shot, which is going to do very little damage in comparison? I'd want to use that one, but because you're having to quickly choose skills to use, unless you've got a pop-up that forces you to use the big hitting one, the most valuable skill, that trait is entirely useless to you. I do have the means to tell me that, but in a very roundabout way, based on whether or not heal potions you pop up. A heal potion use pops up from my add-ons, which is this thing, buff bars. Let's have a look. We'll do with see here. This is where I've put it. Fortunately, I got an old copy of buff bars, so that when this can be used with no focus, that would pop. You'd hope it would pop, but sadly, with my broken version of buff bars, that pops, and also a potion might pop as well, or this cure might pop up. But when these pop up and there's no potion and there's no battle cure popping up, I know that I can use this for free now. I'm all for add-ons showing giving you more intel, but not so much presenting you with loads of buttons to use at particular times. But hey, you got to use what you can, and that buff bar is particularly bad because it's just about to click a skill and it jumps away to something else. Something else pops into the bar, so it's better to use the skills that have a fixed location rather than one that moves along a buff bar. I guess it's newer versions might be better at that than this one I've got. So what are we going to do with our character? We could just nonce around on landscape and do pretty much sweet FA, or we could do some taxing content like a Delvings. As you can see here, I failed to finish off my missions weekly, but I got my Delvings done, and I was using this character basically to get melee tunes on the main account through, so it wasn't concentrating much on its own needs. Let's have a look. What do we got? We have shared storage. We have 30 max in shared storage. We have this many in our bags. So lots of buffage and cures. Still stuff to appraise, depending on whether I have another 120 out, which I think I might do. I might get a minstrel up for Delvings. I need to basically think whether I want to keep those essence. Probably not, but I don't know whether I've got a character going to follow. There's only one player playing character on here other than a level 50 alt hunter. I just got my largest in tracery with stuff I don't really want. It's the start of a store. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's well, not quite 10, but that's 10,000 effectively sitting in there to recoup whenever I want. It's got loads of stuff I don't want to use. Now, that'd be quite nice if I had lots of large content to get through. As you see, I've got my Valas sitting there, but I've only got one character on this account. I could make a new tracery up. I have these upgraded to 150s on this account. Not so much on my main account. They're still using the 140 max ones from Appraisal, but there's no stat difference between a fully ranked up tier 13 and a fully ranked up tier 14 Cyan tracery. The stats, it still says still incoming healing, the same amount, still the same -45 press onwards cooldown, still the 10% press onwards morale. So whether it's a 121 to 140 or a 131 to 150 or a 141 to 160, those, well, it won't change if they're ranked up the same amount. So if you don't switch to the 150 variety, when you get to 140, they will supposedly not work anymore. We haven't got there yet. I haven't got to 141 to find out. But if you're sufficiently ready for that scenario, and you've got lots of tracery tokens and ancient script at your beck and call, then you can, the day you arrive at 141, you can switch up to all your gold tokens stuff. So I'd rather at whether it's 141 or 150, switch up all my Cyans to gold, because I've got sufficient tokens and gold traceries to equip a set of allies. That should suit me down to the ground. Likewise on the main account, I'm trying to get as many gold traceries saved up for 150. Then I've got 2 years of using those traceries, gold tokens and traceries, if not 4, because if the stats are going to be the same, whether it's a 150 max or a 160 max, I don't need to keep replacing them until they actually reach their limit, rather than every 2-year cycle upgrade, I could upgrade on the 4th year, just so long as it's got sufficient resources to do that. And with a whole load of mule characters saving up all these boxes unopened, when they probably have. What are we actually saving on this character? I have loads of the Hobbit Presents stuff, which I just tend to leave there because, why? I'm way past boosts for leveling and things. I'm max level. In terms of defense are nice. Even have them in my buff bar pop up. Oh no, I don't have them in the bar. It's the battle restoration, but I got a stack of 50. It's pretty much the only thing I use out of presents. I have to eke them out a bit on my main account, but on a lone char account, I can use them all. I've just got a few of the legendary traceries on here, just because I've run out of room elsewhere. But I've reached my capacity of 120. These are all from previous seasons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I might have opened one in a rash, greedy moment and been disappointed. Sadly, being tied to figments and embers, it means that um, it's it's a bit of a pain to if you're maxed on one and you're looking for more of another. Can you open these without losing that important currency? I doubt it. But there are means to manage all three of these. Um, like the recent item level increase just means I can hike all the old, I can strip out the essence and hike off the bound to account gear onto an alt mule to store for 400 a time flaming. Less so these now. A 15 delving return is well compared. If you think about a cost of a piece of gear is 1,500 delving rents, you've got a 1% return. At least these you've got a sort of 20%, 16% potentially, 20% return from 3,500. What is that? Is that 16%? Figments, likewise, you buy some, you stack up the housing items. If you've got a housing carry-all or a mule, well, no, you need a carry-all to stack up statues, which, unless a curator or something, where are we at? Because I can't afford anything at the moment. Can't remember what page they're on. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so 600 return, 3,500 spent. So they're at least better than Ember gear, which is with Ember coffer gear, which is costing you 3,500 and you're getting 400 in return. This is giving you 600, but you can stack 50 of these up into a housing carry-all large, and then you've got a 50 times 600 available on demand. Which is why it's quite useful if people have taken note that it's the housing item carry-all that's been put into the store recently. It doesn't stop people moaning about the access and the spending of figments because they can't bear to suffer the 20% losses it involves stacking them up and then flaming. Everyone wants something for nothing, I guess. Okay, we're a Huntsman. We've discussed a number of things. We have our build, which is much. This is just to enhance what we get from elsewhere. Range damage, all good. Focus, 15% chance of focus cost, 25% damage for both skills that consume focus. All very good. Improved intent concentration. As a power store and reduces the cooldown of intent concentration. I wouldn't normally have this, but we've had some power changes recently, and I noticed them on landscape because I'm using lots of skills. I hadn't before. I would have gone further up the tree before, but the length of fights I want to be as short as possible, so I don't really mind using up all my power for the worst of the Delvings content I can face, and I seem to be fine. And rarely do I need to use my power pot. As you can see, I'm at 48, so I've used probably 2 in the last, I don't know how many, maybe 2 months. Not too greedy on split shot. I just want a few targets. 5 does me fine. I got 10 from rain, some hail rather. Um, uh, oh, I missed that brief few moments of the beta where Blue Hunter, well, even Red Hunter, it was just a raid slayer. Blue Hunter, moving about with mobility, chaining hail of arrows was insanity. It was a raid killer, and that was the most fun I've had in a beta. But unfortunately, I had to come clean to say it was a raid killer, and they decided not to have it be chainable from crit, because literally, if you had enough mobs, you'd always find a crit in there somewhere. The Hunter. Um, I've gone to Bow of the Righteous. I'm not using it overly. I think it's I know I don't. I'd rather if I'm going this high and I'm choosing this to get my um, focus generated over this one, which they took way too far in. Ridiculous decision. I'm spending so much to get the useful stuff here. Getting my swift bow inductions down, because this is a these are my key openers. Is it melee? Is it coming towards me? I want it to run at 40%. Is it just going to dot me anyway and stand at range? Well, let's overload the initial damage. It's not delivering it an upshot to start like cheesy Huntards can do. I'm at least giving it a hand to play. Yeah, I resent that this is a damage, and it's a crotch remover, and it's a heal, a hot. What's the? I may want 1, 2, or 3 of those things. I wouldn't mind using 3 skills to deliver them as and when they're needed, not when I don't need. And if I was to do, it's like she's the one in North Downs, that little 3-man instance. If you remove corruptions, you destroy challenge mode, so you can't use that. You can't stun a mob because you'll remove its corruptions. They propose that you can't low cut a mob because you'll remove corruptions, but they probably haven't done all that varied content from before. A raider might choose survival gear. My mitigation and my avoidance and my parry and evade pales into insignificance compared to my ability to move and think during the battles. The delving gear does open up 1, 2, 3, 4 extra essence slots, which means I can add in some mitigations. So my checklist is right. Crit 33%, good. That's maxed. Physical mastery 200%. We're a shade off. Then you can start to go elsewhere. Vitality, bit of a pathetic cop out. So physical, 6.5% down on on cap, and 10.5% down on tactical. But again, most of my avoidance is my ability to think. Piece of kit between my headset earphones and move. And the way I control my character: keyboard strafe, keyboard strafe and turn, keyboard back forth, plus mouse direction movement. This is just sliding the mouse. So we've got pure analog control over movements. Vital in controlling your war speed is the the analog nature rather than a digital turn. This is a keyboard. This is the mouse. This is why when you see people go like that, they're just using keyboard, and it's the same on horseback when they don't understand how superior the mounted combat is. If you use a combination of keyboard and mouse, you can pretty much take your first war steed nag with no points to spend on its control and movement into something usable, because you can mouse move. Now I've got a pretty, I'm at max for all these, because as you can see, anything extra doesn't actually increase. Who knows? Who knows? So this is using with the keyboard. You can change the settings of the game to increase the turn rate with the keyboard, but I'm using the mouse to control the turn at the moment. If I use both mouse and I'm going flat out, but I can use the mouse. Oh, how many have we got online? Not many. Because I've got to say, I don't still crash into stuff. But the key to manoeuvring is the control of the speed, which is you get with the S key, or X and S. So X, maybe I've remapped. Well, I used to do that camera thing, but I'm not using that. So S, the down arrow key on the keyboard. But if you want tight circles, this is mouse. Sorry, this is keyboard. This is mouse. You can literally, hit stuff face on using the mouse turn rate at the correct speed. You go a bit faster and it's not so easy. You slow it down, hitting S. I'm using the mouse to turn. And I'm using, if I was firing skills, I'd be using my keyboard to fire skills. But again, I both use keyboard hitting of these skills. I also use the mouse to hit skills when appropriate, when it suits what I'm doing. Just like riding, sometimes it's better to use keyboards, sometimes it's better to use a mouse, and it's using them in combination which gives you the advantage and control of a war steed. If you choose one and choose ridiculous options like auto slow down, then that's what you'll get. You'll get no ability to truly control and master the riding. And of course, when you don't have the capacity to figure out, understand, and make use of some tech, then you're likely to call out, oh, just get rid of it, ban it, it's no good to anybody. This is my quaint little garden. It's something I can't use because I'm free to play and I'm not a subscriber. Snowball is a really annoying thing because it reports ridiculous snowball things rather than DPS values. Anyway, it's time we actually did some content. I only have 2. Travel skills. Guessing they're at the end here somewhere. Or are they? Yeah, they are. Right. We have Clegg. And I want Herm. There we go. The 4th one is entirely useless now because there's no mission giver there now. Well, I'm assuming there isn't. I think it was updated, so only 3 places have the missions now. I do have them sitting there on the main combat screen. So let's see. Oh no, let's see if let's go to Andrath to see what's available. There are some Delvings that they are really annoying. But it's the start of the week, and I can pick up my 2 weeklies, which I guess is important. Let's check how many we're on. We have 3,500 writs. We have naught to buy because we're solo. We're not a group orientated. We don't have access to a necklace and a cloak to get a class essence that may or may not have much use. If you can get hold of one from the random number generator. Okay, Bridge at Carnost is a nice one. Takes a bit of time because you've got to kill doors, which is all a bit odd. But let's use up some consumables. Was you all read in a patch note that it said Delving Alan tokens would persist through defeat? I personally haven't had that experience, but it's not my go-to one to use. We're rolling the dice here, folks, with a T12. But I'm only at blue line hunter with 24 points in his main tree. What are we facing? This isn't very good, because immediately the scout becomes the number one. Dread to surround it. So I don't want to get into contact. And this is bad enough as it is. There's also, I don't see any blue. We could be losing, seriously losing our gem, our amethyst gem with this one. Morale levels, I'm not having to deal with reflect. Difficult to know whether, because these aren't doing range damage, but he is doing range damage. And that's a whole heap of range damage. Will I keep the warrior in there for long while I'm dealing with these other two? Do I go for burn hot now and then find that it's still not good enough to beat these guys? So, well, let's try it. Right, that was serious malice. Well, the cadence seems to match burn hot. Mob AI isn't favouring the defiler. Oh, it's the bloody gate. Burn hot's back. Now, on another malice, I would really be concentrating on the defiler. So let's see the difference if we concentrate on the defiler and try and ignore the scout for its significant range damage. Well, he didn't. Well, I can line of sight these things. Maybe it was more sensible to go for the defiler as normal. It seems to be a bit weak. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was different to other malices where you could pretty much guarantee to get through quick enough. That fire reduction in your max morale and burn, that's hefty. Carnost Courtyard. Yeah, it's long, involved, and a pain. We're trying to do tier 12 context. Tier 12, tier 12 Delvings. And oh, I don't think I've ever done this. Have I done this on 12? Especially with unfamiliar malices in play. I suppose I better see what. Oh, lucky me. I am a woodworker, forester, farmer, woodsman. Uh, anyway, 1 of 15 to report. So, yeah, that. Oh, thank you very much. Here we go again. Burn, baby, burn. So, the idea of waiting around for a bleed to tick through to its course is totally at odds with what I face here. Redline, maybe I could just stand here and just blast everything with their damage and everything dies and there's no interest. It's just easy mode, pointless play. I don't know. I don't group that way. So what do? We are here, yabba dabba doo. By just thinning the ranks. Now I don't have to worry about these paths linking. I got some separation now, so I can fuck it up completely. Well, we're going to die here. We reduced one mob. I really thought I'd got separation, that they weren't going to link, but with so many mobs, I got the 3 I could just about deal with. Having 5 is a huge change. My mistake, but it's you know, it's non-normal linked aggro. I think in these Delvings you can't quite be sure. Need to jump down. Ooh. All clear, all clear. So let's concentrate on the scout. Let's concentrate on the defiler. We're now running into cooldowns on these things now. This is when it starts to get onerous, is when you can accept death too, but when you start having to wait for cooldowns, it's just annoying. All of those extra pots from Hobbit Presents in the store are in my vault, which is a free-to-play player I don't have access to. This should be enough to get me through. Just have to be more sensible. Target the thing I should be targeting, the thing that's going to kill me. Yeah, so much for my lovely skill that's supposed to daze them for 5 seconds. Very quick 5 seconds in my book. Okay, let's have a go. buggery. Who'd want to take a static hunter or a static character really sorted to that kind of melee? Roots. Yeah, I chose tactical mitigation just to get tactical mitigation up. You know, I was okay on crit and mastery, so this was a was now I've got sufficient essence lots and things to get my basic checklist of things um, on cap. Then I could develop the mitigations somewhat more, which has proved to be good. Um, Without the current delving gear and the extra essence slots, I don't think I would survive so well on those last couple of tier 12 delvings. Um, um, it's just another 15 delving routes to the list. We are up to 3,600. I'm only get to 5,000. I'll just buy something that I can't use that I could sell that maybe won't be worth an awful lot by then. Uh, what is there to buy? Well, nothing from there, obviously. Uh, don't need none of them. Don't need none of them. Don't need none of them. I think I'm talking to the wrong guy, am I? Yes. Can you buy gear for lower levels? Yeah, I need to speak to somebody else, I guess. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Rather go out on an adventure. Stay in my house? Well, you stay in your house and decorate, but you can't afford. You don't have access to writs to buy the stuff. They want you to dance a merry tune on your strings. Delving outline token. As far as I can see, it would just be adding to this. Delving humble essence. This is not going to be as good as the stuff I've got. So, who is selling me stuff for the local currency? Somewhere else, perhaps. Obviously, a need hasn't arisen, so I don't really care about a cap. Steps of Carnost. I'm not going to choose this one because there is some really screwy mob AI. You go up there and then they start crawling over the buildings and jumping down from huge heights to attack you from all sides. It is just badly formed, so I'm not going to risk doing that one. Netting Glade. Well, there are, there's only 2 targets at a time at worst. If you're not careful, it shouldn't be too bad. Haunting at no. If you go tier 12, then the boss, his morale goes up a mite higher than I like. And with all the horrendous big widespread flames, flame puddles, that could be seriously an issue. So let's try this on 12. Okay, well, I'm going to do my normal thing of going to as far around the clock face as I can, start easily, and then work my way around until I'm done. So it means I'm going this way. I'm going to move a bit, wait, and see what's about. We've got some pops. And we are actually seeing some, so this is good. Range damage, I don't mind when there's lots of melee creatures about. I want to keep things distant, so the idea of my huntsman being keen on going into melee to deliver devastating blows, not to my liking, or any true huntsman. We might as well see if our tactic is going to work, killing stuff. Right, that's the end, that's the green wall. I'm going to hold off, or maybe I will. Green, lurker. It's not going to affect me for a while. Let's slow him up. I want to keep him out harm's way. I don't have that. I don't have that pop up for. I didn't know he routed me. Luckily, he routed me outside of a puddle, which is all good. That's fair. This is what I like. This is when I was. Oh, that didn't last long, did it? None of these skills are lasting as long as they're advertised to last. Well, I've just done a long video with a dodgy mic, and I've switched off the dodgy mic.